One of the things that I think has been really important for Billy about this film is the importance of it to his family. He's always seen the book and then subsequently the film as an important way to validate the support that they've given him. I mean, they've been through some really rough times, but to see Billy's story up on the screen, I think is really important for them.
What led you to writing the book in the first place?
Well, when I came back from Thailand, 2 screws from Wandsworth prison picked me up after 5 years of being in the country and took me back to Wandsworth, and I felt like I had this culture shock. I couldn't communicate in my own language. Like, I didn't feel anyone could identify with the experiences I'd been in, and I remember just writing about it. And I showed it to a member of staff on the education, 1A4 piece of paper, and she came back the next day after reading it and went, "Oh my God, you need to write more." She said, "I felt the feelings you were going through, and it was very descriptive, and it was quite enthralling. I'd like to hear more." And I thought she was stroking my ego, and she was quite pretty, so I thought, okay, I'll write more as long as she keeps coming back. And, you know, and I ended up writing a book, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was more, to be honest, it was more therapeutic, it was healing.
He come out from Thailand and he started writing it when he was in the prison up in London. But a majority of it, he was living with me, because I've got all that, scraps of paper and everything, you know, what he drew.
So how did you get it from a book into a film?
How did I get it into a book?
Well, go on, firstly, how did you get it into
rejections.
How did you get it into a book, and then how did you get it into a film?
I was in the prison library. I'd only wrote a synopsis and I sent it to loads of publishers, you know, "This is not for us and we don't think it's going to go anywhere, and, you know, keep writing and maybe someone will have it." Did it, and letters after letter, and I thought, you know what, I'm not settling for rejection, and I'm not. And eventually someone took it on board, and then I was walking down a street called Hope Street in Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
At this manuscript.
I stayed in Hope Street Hotel last night.
Yeah.
I know the street.
Yeah, so there was a little sign, you'd have missed it. It was about this big, really small.
Yeah.
And it said Hurricane Films. And I thought, I'll fancy me chances here. And I knocked at the door, and I got told to go away, and, you know, it's not for us. And then I came back the next day, said, "Look, give this to your managers here, you know, we'll take you off here." And I went, "Look, I want to give it to them myself." And he went, "No, well, you know," and he kept turning me away, and I came back again, and in the end he just said, "Look, he's never going to go away."
This was our former office. Basically, we don't get a lot of people knocking, thankfully. And this guy knocked one day, nose over there, with his ear missing, comes and says, I've got an unpublished novel, will you read it?" And we were like, "Yeah, okay." And basically, me and Sol, my producing partner, we hid, basically. Said, Nicole, who worked for us at the time, I'll deal with him. And
he did say that he had to come back a few times. He came back a few,
because first of all, I mean, you get so many unsolicited scripts that we can't meet everyone, but he kept knocking. And we loved the story, both of us read it, loved it straight away. And
how was he when you met him?
He was on good form at that time. He was really driven, which at that time was important because, you know, he was piecing his life back together, and he had this book, but he didn't really know what to do with it. And straight away we knew there was a film in it. And a mate of ours that I used to write on Brookside with, Nick Saltrees, had just started delivering a feature film for us, and we said, "Let's get you together with Nick, see if you get on, and then take it from there."
Then they started talking about like script writers and then actors and directors, and it was all surreal because I'm sitting around a table with these 3 guys. I trying to fit in. I don't feel like I belong. I thought it'd get made on a council estate in Liverpool, in someone's shed. You know what I mean? With like Ken Dodd, the lead role or something. I didn't know where it was going to go, and then they started giving me a list of names of actors and stuff, and I thought, wow.
The key relationship was Nick and Billy. It took a couple of months and a couple of drafts for Billy really to trust us and really trust Nick.
I was going to say, it must have taken some time, someone you don't have any previous rapport with, has been through all of that to build up enough trust.
Yeah. Because, you know, we said all along that when you enter into a relationship with people, it's got to be based on trust. And I think he quickly did learn to trust us, and they got on really well. In the development process, I went to a thing called the Paris Project, which is a co-development platform, and I met Rita Daga, our co-producer. She introduced me to Jean-Stéphane, Sauvaire, our director. And when he came over to Liverpool, he spent a lot of time with Billy, a lot of time with Billy's family. And from that point, the script took another turn, which was a lot closer to what is on screen, because Jean-Stéphane's way of working is basically immerse himself in the reality of the story.
Was it hard to get the authenticity, to find that in someone who could take your story and turn it into a script? Because people like to embellish stuff, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's quite difficult when you know the story better than anyone, obviously, because it's your story.
And yeah, some of the first script I read was like quite bizarre. I thought, nah, that's not it. And then we got this director on board, and we started just communicating with him and the script writer myself, and loads of controversy and arguments over. I went, look, I don't say that. This is not how I talk. You know what I mean?
He cared quite a lot about how he was put across as far as how he spoke, because he wanted it to be authentic. And he said the first time he spoke to Joe Cole when he was doing a Scouse accent, he sounded like a Beatle.
Yeah, well, that was
John
an issue.
Lennon.
When we first met Joe, straight away he said he wanted to do a Liverpool accent, and we said, look, we've seen so many bad Liverpool accents, and as a Liverpool-based production company, we don't want to add to that canon of bad Liverpool accents. I mean, it's up there with the Scottish accent for being ruined by actors. But Joe was adamant that he could do it because he'd done the Birmingham one and Peaky Blinders, and he said, just give me the chance. If you say you're not happy with it, then I'll revert to what we wanted was just a plain accent. But he cracked it. And Billy Joe and I went out for a night in town, and throughout that evening, Joe was talking a Liverpool accent, and that sort of won us over. He got it. He was, a lot of the time he was mimicking Billy, and a lot of the time he was picking up inflections in Billy's accent. And I know Billy and Joe worked hard on that, and he's pulled it off.
Yeah.
The director, he was like, no Hollywood CGI. I want a gritty, dark movie with loads of action, loads of feeling. Let's get into the redemption of it all. Let's get into let's get really involved, close-ups. It's not just a story about an addict who goes to prison and then gets out. It's not. There's a lot of there's a lot of feeling, there's a lot of loss, there's a lot of contributing factors.
It's a hard film to watch.
Yeah, I believe it's about a man who's been on a journey without any guidance.
What led to you being back here?
I was working full time. I was what you'd call a productive member of society, and I was a drug and alcohol support worker. House, car, relationships were quite good. And then I was diagnosed with cancer, and I got diagnosed on set, which is quite. I was on set playing my young dad while I was going through cancer, and my dad had passed away from, with cancer.
We were with Billy the day that his dad passed away, and I think it was a real moment for him, and it was one of the things that spurred him on with the film as well, because I think he was relieved that he had some kind of closure with his dad after a difficult upbringing. But I think he was happy that his dad knew that we were making the film, and when we came to production and when we were shooting the film, it was a really late addition to feature Billy's dad, and obviously on screen Billy plays his dad, and I think that was, Jean-Stéphane was always interested in doing that, but we never knew whether it was right, and I think it was only when we were on set that when Billy agreed to play his dad, although it's only a small role, I think that was a really emotional moment for Billy. And for Jean-Stéphane as well, I think, because, he's worked long and hard on this film, and it's been important for Billy to involve his family, so I think that was a nice way to end the film.
Where are you at with the cancer now?
In remission.
Good.
In remission. But at that stage in my life, I lost my job, I lost my house, I lost my car, I lost my sanity. I was walking around the park, in my shorts, early hours in the morning, my mental health had really gone. I was paranoid, and no matter what was going on, which was glamorous or glorious or great in my life, because all this film stuff was happening, I didn't feel I was worthy of anything. I felt so worthless and I thought I was going to die. And I remember spending everything, every penny I had, losing everything, thinking, okay, I'm accepting my demise. And I went to the doctors, I thought, that's it, you know, I had a good time. And I sat there and he went, you know, I'm happy to say, you're going to be okay, Mr. Moore. I went, what do you mean I'm going to live? Because I was like, you know,
I'm done.
prepared, I'm going,
Yeah.
it's over, it's ended. And then I come back and I had loads of debts. And, you know, I'd done things that I didn't want to do, and I went to places that I didn't want to go. And, you know, I believe in me today, and there's a reason, you know, I feel like I can be a benefit for other inmates, and I am, in a sense, being supportive, and I've got a great opportunity to signpost and guide other people, and, you know, not let my experience cloud my judgments and say, look, this is what works for me. You know, and to do that is rewarding. You know, it's never going to be nice sitting in a cell. And I suppose that most of my life has, you know, but there's been huge periods of abstinence and doing the right thing. Unfortunately, you know, I've landed myself here and, you know, I'm paying the price, really.
But you're clean now.
Yep, I'm clean. 9 months last week.
And you got a lot of good to come out to.
Yeah, I have. Hopefully, yeah, there's loads to look forward to, and you know, it's not long for me release now. I've been doing all the right things for the first time in my life. You know what I mean? You know, I've done 20 years of like segregation units and roofs and just like behind the door. And this time, it's quite a different experience. And it's like I'm an observer watching people.
How much is helping other people helping you?
A lot. It's rewarding. You know, when someone goes, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being in here, and I go, well, look, I'm not going to tell you where to go, what to do. I'm going to tell you how it works for me, and this is what I did. And my life has become a lot more. There's a lot more happening. You know, there's more doors opening. You know what I mean? Because someone sitting in my seat years ago, I'd have thought they were a grass. Oh, he must be a snitch, him. You know, he's working with the staff, or he's working with. You know, it's not. It was like, manager got me a little bit being polite. You know what I mean? And just saying, excuse me, instead of demanding. Because I'm no Mother Teresa. You know, I didn't come here and start like, you know, putting expectations on everyone and unrealistic expectations. But today, I work in a welcome centre, so everyone who comes in the prison, I get to see them first, and I get to speak to them, and I speak to them the way I'd speak to anyone else. I say, this is how it is, you know, do the right thing, and the right thing will happen. You know, if you're going to use drugs, then, you know, be mindful. I'm not here to tell you not to, but, you know, be careful that you're not going to be selling your roasties or selling yourself or selling your soul or doing things you wouldn't normally do, because I've done it. You know what I mean? And I've done it the wrong way. It's your choice. Would you like a cup of tea? That's my job.
Sweet. What do you find embarrassing to talk about? What's shameful?
I don't really. There's no shame in saying, you know what, you know, I feel vulnerable. I feel scared. You know what I mean? It doesn't take away the fact that I'll go toe to toe with anyone.
Yeah.
That's not the problem.
But anger's almost like adult fear, isn't it? It's like, I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to be angry.
Yeah. That thin line between vulnerability and anger. You see it all the time. You know what I mean? People, you shut that door, that cell door, and that person is the same as you behind that door. The relationship we've got now is quite different because we're not familiar with each other, but if we did, it'd be different. You act differently around different people. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Yeah, no, you do. You're someone else to someone else. I always say that.
You're like a chameleon. I'm like Mr. Ben around other people. I'll be whoever you want me to be and never be myself.
I just want you to be yourself.
Exactly, and this is who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, proper.
Wow, brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Thank you for
in.
being so honest. What a fascinating man. What a brilliantly open and honest man to be able to have, you know, to have gone through what he's gone through, to have endured everything he has in his life, and to be where he is currently, in prison, and to be able to sit there 9 months clean and have the conversation that we just had. I only wish I could have spoke to him for a little bit longer.